Hello. Three local organizations have a common purpose, leveling the playing field for women when it comes to pay and hiring. They're here to explain how they want Pittsburgh businesses and organizations to level up. Plus, mental health professionals are there when we need help, but who do the mental health professionals turn to? One organization is helping. They'll tell us how. And Nikole Hannah-Jones and the New York Times shined a beacon on the history of slavery in this country with their Pulitzer Prize-winning work. We'll tell you when she's coming to Pittsburgh. So pull up a chair and meet us at the corner. Intersection starts right now. Hello, I'm Lisa Smith, the Director of Community Impact at KDKA Plus and the host of Intersections. It usually takes a woman longer to earn the same amount as a man. Equal Pay Day generally falls in March, but it can be much later in the year if you're a woman of color or LGBTQ. Now, several local groups are coming together to form Level Up Greater Pittsburgh Pay Equity Campaign. Here to talk about this initiative are Rochelle Jackson, she is the founder and the director of Black Women's Policy Center, Camilla Rivera Tinsley, the CEO of the Women and Girls Foundation, and Angela Reynolds, CEO of the YWCA Greater Pittsburgh. Welcome, ladies, to Intersections.
Thank you so much
for having us.
So this is such an interesting topic, right? Women probably talk about it a lot, you know, amongst themselves. But how did you all kind of come together to say, hey, there's maybe something we can do about this?
I'll start. So we have been working with Women and Girls Foundation and also with Black Women's Policy Center for a while. As we were moving into this area of really amplifying our work, so we've been doing it for over 150 years. We've been around this field of pay equity to say, okay, now how do we accelerate it? And so reaching out to both organizations to say, we are aligned. The three of us are working on this already. What could we do and what can we make happen if we were able to come together? And so we started off in having conversations in 2021 to say, let's merge our campaigns, get them along a common goal, a common objective, and let's get to work. And you can see already since that amount of time that there is so much that has emerged. We've had Equal Pay Day awareness events. We have a pledge that's out there for organizations, again, because our missions were already connected.
Yeah. So Camilla, tell us, kind of drill down, what is the issue? What is the problem?
I think the problem is the same that it's been for quite some time, and it's just having society really value the work that women do and value the place that we hold in this society. And that boils down to a few different things. And at the very base level, it is just achieving equal pay and equitable experiences within the workplace, and also generally being supported in ways that women of color have not been supported, and women generally speaking.
Now, I know, you know, this is an issue for all women, but what you guys are doing, you're trying to kind of center the concentration on Black women. Rochelle, tell me a little bit about, you know, your work and how this focus on Black women is important.
Yes, so I created or founded the Black Women's Policy Center on the heels of 20 plus years of public policy advocacy, and always recognizing that the work that I did, that Black women disproportionately were impacted by those policies and the social inequities, but never really centered in the policy, the unique challenges and issues that they faced. And so I came into the space really wanting to understand from Black women what their experiences have been locally in this region, and wanting to start there and amplify their voices and their experiences. And it was no surprise to us that poverty came out as the #1 challenge for Black women, but also want to point out the fact that when we say poverty is the most pressing issue, it really isn't poverty in the absence of income. It's poverty in the sense that there are a lot of factors that perpetuate a cycle of poverty for Black women. And what we recognize is that pay equity and minimum wage are the two most pressing issues that really perpetuate that cycle for Black women. But I think the campaign is a lot more. When we look at the Level Up campaign, it definitely encompasses much more than just pay. It is really about workplace protections and really making sure that Black women feel valued and protected and respected in the workplace as well. But that really is where we wanted to really hone in on the Black women in terms of just and also when you look at the national average and the regional in terms of the statistics, we are doing much worse than the national average in terms of pay equity for Black women. And so it makes sense to start our campaign here, but obviously, at some point, elevating that to state level and really connecting that to some federal policy as well.
Yeah, so you're being really strategic by focusing on Black women so that it can then kind of ripple out to all of the women here in the area. So Angela, tell us a little bit about what the pledge is and why you want organizations and businesses to take this pledge.
We want businesses and organizations to take the pledge because we want to close the wage gap, period. And so as we look at one of the things that you said at the beginning, if we only focus on equal pay day for all women, then women of color, so Black women, Latina women, Native and Indigenous women, Asian women will still have their equal pay day in the next year. And so we have to center women of color in this discussion. So when we look at the pledge, the first thing is to say, what are those systems and practices that have already detrimentally impacted women of color? One of the things is if you know what you're going to pay for the job, just put the salary out there early in the process so that women can make decisions for their families. That's one aspect. Removing salary history. If we know that Latina women and Black women are already being paid lower amounts, if you use the salary history, you're just going to perpetuate that inequity. So if we really want to close the gap, get rid of salary history, and also when we think about issues in terms of desired salary. But our pledge also includes one of saying, let's do some annual reviews. And if you can't do annual reviews, let's look at them every 2 years to make sure that equity is there. And think about the racial justice and equity training that's happening at your organization and bring those in, because again, we're centering women of color, and how do we provide a protective workplace? And the final one is just follow the national law. If you just make sure that those protections are in place, because often employees don't know what their rights are. So as a campaign, we're also raising awareness around that.
Yeah.
So take the pledge.
Yeah. So we only have a little bit of time left, but I know that people can get involved through your roundtables. Talk about that very quickly, because I know there's one coming up.
You want to talk about the roundtable?
Sure, yes. So the roundtable discussion is meant to really be a place where people can get more information, they can find out how to get involved, and to be educated. Because part of our campaign is really bringing about awareness, because unfortunately this is an issue because a lot of folks didn't know it was an issue. It's kind of one of those things like a little dirty secret that's always been there, but no one really acknowledged it. So the first thing is to really acknowledge it. You can't address what you don't acknowledge. So the roundtable discussion is an opportunity to have those really candid conversations about the issues, the numbers, because numbers don't lie, but really to also understand experiences of Black women, for employers to learn, right? So that they can understand that maybe this is something that my company should take a look at. Maybe we should be involved. We want our employers to have the best experience, including Black women. And so it is an opportunity for them to get that information, but also to learn from one another. There are some employers who are doing extremely progressive, work in this space. And so they can, other employers can learn from that. And so my company wants to do that. So how do we do that? How do we start that? So it's an opportunity to network. It's an opportunity to learn. And it's an opportunity for us all to come together as a region to say no more, right? To really take a stand against pay inequity and to start to close the wage gap. I don't think that we're, naive to think that this is going to happen next year or even in 5 years. It took us many decades to get to this place, but coming and having a conversation and a discussion about it is the starting point, right? It's in signing the pledge. It's saying that I'm willing to do my part, right? And I'm willing to work to get there. And so I think so it's an opportunity to just dialogue for everybody to come together. And it's not just companies, it's for individuals. Anyone is welcome to come and have that discussion and to really be involved and engaged in the campaign.
Okay, well, thank you all so much for being here. I know that you have this Level Up roundtable coming up. It's on your screen. We're also going to put some information on our website. Thank you again so much for being with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Well, coming up, helping social workers combat compassion fatigue and celebrating their accomplishments. Intersections. We'll be right back. Well, March is National Social Work Month, and the need for social workers in multiple fields continues to grow. But who helps social workers when they get burned out? Our next guests have an annual event to support and celebrate those hard workers on the front lines. Joining us today are Sharice Nance. She is the founder and co-owner of Hand in Hand Counseling Services and Vitamin C Healing. William Nance is co-founder of Vitamin C Healing, and Johnny Gathers is a mental health therapist and Hand in Hand Counseling therapists. Welcome everyone to Intersections.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Alrighty, so this seems like this topic that nobody talks about, being burnt out, and you're a compassion fatigue expert. First of all, Sharice, what is compassion fatigue?
So compassion fatigue is the physical and emotional exhaustion that causes a pronounced change in our ability to have empathy for our loved ones, for the people we serve, and for our colleagues as a result of helping people who've experienced a lot of trauma, suffering, and pain, often referred to as the cost of caring.
Wow. So is this something that we've known about for a while? Did it kind of surface because of the pandemic, or?
Question. It's been around for decades.
Yeah.
I know that it has been a heavy topic in Canada for years. That's where I learned from. A few of my mentors are from there, and it's starting to pick up speed now, but this has been going on for years. I know when I was in school a couple decades ago, they didn't talk about compassion fatigue, burnout, or self-care. The focus was on, and it is important, the focus was on the people we serve, and leave your bags at the door and just focus on helping, but there was no talk of compassion fatigue, secondary trauma, or burnout.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, making sure that, you put on your mask first before
Yes.
you help somebody else.
Yes.
So, William, you guys have started Vitamin C Healing to help people who are in the social workspace. So tell us a little bit about, why you found it necessary to work and form this organization.
That's actually a great question. It was actually formed as I was watching my wife in her journey as a social worker, coming home and wondering how does she keep her cup filled. And from an outside perspective looking in, understanding the need that these incredible individuals need to have their cups filled just made me want to help create a platform to bring attention to that awareness.
Yeah. And then Johnny, you work in the field.
Yeah.
So does Sharice. But so what are you seeing, and what are maybe some of the things that you think you are helpful for you as you're kind of doing your job?
Yeah, so what I normally see within this profession is just a lot of individuals that need help, but they don't really know how to seek help. They usually seek it with family, with friends, but when they go to those individuals, they kind of feel like, no, this is not the right outlet. So with myself being a therapist, I'm able to be that outlet for them to be able to verbalize their feelings, talk about their thoughts, even just be a listening ear to them.
So basically, it's like therapists sometimes need therapists.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like pretty much everybody at this point, right?
Yeah.
So the SWAG Awards, talk about that, because that is kind of where all this leads to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why it was created. So SWAG stands for, we love our acronym. SWAG stands for Social Worker Appreciation of Greatness. And actually, Bill, my husband, he's super creative. He actually came up with that acronym, and we just took it and we ran with it. And it started like back in 2019, where we were initially recognizing just Black social workers historically. And then I thought, let's reach out to some local social workers and just do an online celebration. And that's how I met Johnny. He came very highly recommended. So he was one of the awardees for our inaugural celebration that had to get shut down because of the pandemic. So we didn't get a chance to have that. So our first celebration was actually virtual, and we honored 21 social workers, I believe, and that was a big number, so we had to kind of decrease that. But, SWAG, we're so passionate about it, and Johnny joined us as a committee member, and he's just been super duper helpful with his connections and his passion for the work and for the SWAG Awards. And it was created because as a social worker, oftentimes our work is unappreciated, it's under-recognized, it's not valued, it's not appreciated. So we wanted to create an exclusive platform for social workers to be recognized. You ask any social worker, they'll say, oh, I didn't get into this profession to be recognized. I don't need any tangible rewards. And I know that we want to be recognized for this hard work that we do. I've worked in a lot of different facets in this profession, and social workers are often underpaid along with not being recognized. So that's why it was so important to create this platform.
Yeah, and just super quickly, Johnny, what's been the reaction from the people who are getting this? You've been recognized. What does that feel like?
It's a good feeling to be recognized for the work that you do. Like sometimes we don't really look at the accolades, but when you get a recognition just to saying thank you for your service, it's a good feeling. And after I had got honored and Sharice had asked me to be part of the committee, I was willing to do it. And to this day, this year will be 4 years since the Swag Awards got started, and I'm looking forward to the, to the ceremony and the festivities that we got planned out.
Well, speaking of, it's coming up real soon. We got this graphic here. It is on March 23rd. It's in person, 5 o'clock at the Circuit Center by the Fluted Mushroom in the South Side. So thank you so much for being with us and sharing this. And it sounds like it's going to be a fabulous event, and we wish you all much success with it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, coming up, how you can see Nikole Hannah-Jones in Pittsburgh. Intersections. We'll be right back. Well, if you are at all familiar with the New York Times 1619 Project, then chances are you're familiar with Nikole Hannah-Jones. The Pulitzer and Peabody Prize-winning journalist is coming to Pittsburgh as part of the August Wilson African American Cultural Center's Truth Sayer Speaker Series. Here to talk about the event is Catherine Calhoun. She is the center's Director of Education and Community Engagement. Welcome back to Intersections.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, yes. So, having Nikole Hannah-Jones here is a huge deal because, one, this is the first time she's been in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
But she's just a big deal just around the whole 1619 Project. So tell us a little bit about, why you guys wanted to have her here for the Truth Sayers series.
Yeah, so our Truth Sayer series is a speaker series. And in that series, we always want to bring people that are figures in society, in the world, that have a great message and a message to be heard. A lot of our speakers are speaking for people, bringing a voice to people. As we were looking for the lineup for this coming season, Nikole Hannah-Jones was one that we feel would be beneficial to bring to the center because she, along with the 1619 Project, she has a lot to say. And I feel that the audience that comes to see her at the August Wilson Center will be able to be exposed to her insight, her perspective on slavery. She's done so much work and on the slavery trade and how that all works. And I feel that people need to hear the story.
Yeah. So for those who aren't familiar, kind of give a little bit of what she's done. She was, kind of, I guess, the front face of the 1619 Project, but she's done books and so much more.
Yeah, so from what I know of Nikole Hannah-Jones, first of all, I'm excited to see her. I have not read her book yet, but I have started to look into, her work more since we've been, we're bringing her here to the center. But she also wrote a children's book, Born on the Water, which is an extension of the 1619 Project that talks about a young girl who's doing this project for school and wanting to know her history, her family history. So in this book, just because I'm so focused on education, I thought this was pretty cool. Through this children's book, this young girl finds that, she goes back 3 generations and finds that her family were a part of slavery 400 years ago. And it tells the story of this young girl and finding all these things out about slavery. So I know Nikole Hannah-Jones has written a children's book, of course, the 1619 Project. She's touring all over the world talking about slavery, slave trade, and everything. She's done a lot of reporting as she's a journalist as well. But I hope to gain from her coming to the center more insight on her journey, where she started from, plans that she may have for the future, and if there's going to be any other books in the
Sure.
coming future.
Yeah, and she's also at Howard now too. I mean,
Yes.
she's kind of orchestrating one of the departments there at Howard.
Yeah.
So tell us about the event and how it's going to kind of play out. There's like a
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah, for sure. So our True Sayer series is generally about 60 to 75 minutes long. Her particular event will be on March 7th, and that starts at 7 o'clock. So generally, she'll go, it'll be in conversation. We'll have a moderator there, Muriel, who, I'm sure she's very excited to be a part of this event as well.
Muriel
so-
Fox Allen.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. Yes, she will be moderating this, and it will be kind of like her asking questions and opening up conversation, and then usually there's a Q&A after, and a lot of the times after the whole entire event, she does like a meet and greet, or she may sign books. I'm not exactly sure if she'll do it for us, but
Okay.
Generally that's how some of our True Sayers event go, and it's a very great time to listen to the story. A great time if you do have questions and want to ask them, there is an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a great event, and you also have some other events that are coming up.
Yes.
We're just going to go through, and we only have a minute left. But March 9th, you have your Community Day.
Yes.
And then also that same day, your 10K movement. Tell us about that 10K movement.
Yeah, 10K Movement is a dance group from Cleveland. They're going to be coming to perform hip hop dance, and it also correlates with our Community Day as we are celebrating hip hop. So they'll do a master class in the daytime with a performance in the evening at 7, and tickets are still available for that.
Okay. And then Herbie Hancock, that's sold out. That
Sold
is
out.
March 27th. Then the April 9th, Christian McBride, who is a Grammy Award-winning jazz
Yes,
bassist.
April 9th.
All right, April 9th.
April 9th.
And
yep.
then are tickets still available for Nikole Hannah-Jones?
Tickets are still available, $30. If you are a student, we do have a student discount for $20, but you can purchase them on our website at awaacc.org.
All right, and we're showing that graphic right
Yay.
there. Thank you so much, Catherine, for being
Yes.
with us today, and much success with the program.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
All right, thank you. And I'll have my last word when we come back. Burnout. There's a good chance it's hitting you or someone you know. You know how it is. You get so busy with all of your obligations at work, at school, at home, in the community that you don't get time for yourself. So if you know someone in that situation, maybe help them recharge with a celebration. It's the same idea behind the Swag Awards. Take a friend out to lunch, watch the grandkids, give someone a break, or if necessary, schedule some time for yourself. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Intersections.